Living Adaptive.
The goal is to adapt and thrive despite the adversity you face.
You're going to have that little voice inside of you trying to push yourself.
I set a vision for myself, and now I'm seeing it come to fruition.
I'm grateful for losing my leg.
There's just some things you must endure in life.
You might crash. You might fail.
You can find a purpose in your suffering.
I'm not special. I've just decided that I'm not going to stop.
You do everything you possibly can.
We want to change the world.
I'm going to adapt to it and make it the way it works for me.
Take what it is from life that you want and enjoy it.
All right, what's up, everybody? This is Scott Davidson, and this is Living Adaptive. And in case you don't know, go to livingadaptive.com to find guest notes so we can find context for the guests, previous episodes, show notes, all kinds of good stuff. So go there, and you can find everything you need there. All right, we're dropping right into this, and this is Robbie Ripoll. Robbie is a really, really interesting person because he's just hit the adaptive scene. It's not just for like the stage he's been on before, but he's really just become part of this community in the last year, and it's a pretty amazing process. Robbie, thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
Bro, you were 12. No problem, man. You were 12 years old and you started into like one of the wildest scenes. It's like everything every parent fears, but not yours, man. You're 12 years old. You started tattooing. And when I dove into your story, I dive into a lot of fucking stories, man. When I dove into your story, I'm like, dude, what was life like for you then to make you such a wild child to be like 12 and tattooing? Like what was going on at that age, man? That's fucking crazy, man.
All right, so the way it goes is I started apprenticing at 12. So I was like, I'd get to pick up a machine and like tattoo a lighter or a grapefruit or something. But I was cleaning floors, making needles, just back then the shit was dirty,
Yeah.
So I was snipping old needles off of bars and like soldering new needles together and soldering them onto the bars, poking the guts out of old piercing needles and stuff, re-sterilized them. Like, I was a kid, I didn't know any better. Like, my dad was the guy, and this is, I'm fucking 39 now, and I was 12.
Yeah.
So, people didn't know things about communicable diseases and shit, like a lot of dudes in Florida started wearing gloves in the 80s, you know what I'm saying? So like fast forward 10 years to the 90s, that was me. So like shit was wild. My dad was the reason, because my dad was a tattooer, and I used to get dropped off at the tattoo shop after school, like in like 5th grade and shit.
Yeah.
The bus would just dropped me at the tattoo shop, which was in my mom's nail shop at the time. So
that's so crazy. I'm the same age as you, man. So like I get the era. I get the
right.
things you're saying.
Right. Yeah. Like things were a little bit more outlaw back then, a little wild west, and you could kind of just do whatever you want, like put a tattoo in a cosmetology shop together, and my dad, he learned how to tattoo because of one of the girls that worked at the shop. Her boyfriend Wizard taught my dad. He tattooed my dad one night. My dad was like, well, fuck this, I could tattoo.
Yeah.
So my parents were always serial entrepreneurs. My dad has some really interesting stories about some of the things he did before legal business. His stories are fucking way wilder than mine. So I think that's kind of how I ended up like being 12 years old in a wild situation. But like the fucked up shit is I'm coming home from church camp. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm still going to church and shit.
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to live Mr. Rogers and whatnot. So I come home from church camp. My mom's on the motherfucking kitchen counter with her ass in the air, getting a little bear tattooed on it.
Yeah.
So I guess wild life was a natural state for me.
Yeah, I remember that era. I remember you could go into like a high school bathroom and find a group of kids kind of just like piercing each other. You know what I mean?
Right.
Nobody gave a shit.
I used to fucking pierce kids in class.
Yeah, man.
Strip their earrings. Dude, I used to make body jewelry at the time, so that was like part of the apprenticeship. Like I just made everything that my parents needed me to make for the business. So it was a great fucking way. Like, dude, I know everything about the tattoo business from the ground up because I learned it all in these crude fucking ways.
Yeah.
But like
yeah.
I used to make body jewelry and put it in my Tigger because I had a chain wallet because I was a very dark kid. I was angry. I was fat. I was depressed. So I think the adaptive world works perfect for me because I've always had to learn how to be adaptive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I had to learn how to make pretty girls like me because that's what I wanted was pretty girls.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to work out and eat right. So, yeah. But, like, I had this Tigger doll that hung on my fucking chain wallet, and I pierced them all up, and I would, like, sell the jewelry to kids.
That's hilarious.
And then I would make taper pins, and because I'd make the jewelry, and then I'd make a taper pin, and then I'd fucking taper their ears for it. It was crazy. The entrepreneurial lemonade stands.
Oh,
that
yeah,
I made,
man.
You know?
Yeah, the black market during our era was way better. I mean, like, you could, like, I'm not condoning this, but, like, you could literally go get a box of hair dye and dye your hair red and then get a piercing. And then at the same time, you could go to, like, Chris's locker and get a stack of VHS porn. You know what I mean? Like, it was a different era, though. Like, your whole high school was a black market. And so,
dude, absolutely.
Yeah. It was an interesting time, but there was a lot of freedom in that black market. I mean, you could get fireworks, porn, hair dye, piercings, everything you wanted.
Drugs.
And a school day. Yeah, drugs for sure. That went without saying. And then, I mean, shoot, I remember we had this van. It was like one of the Econoline vans. You could go out there and get like a 6-pack of beer, like somebody be selling one in a parking lot. I mean, it's just kind of like, it wasn't impressive. It was just Pittsburgh, you know what I mean? Nothing special.
Right.
But, yeah. Shit kind of went haywire during our era. It kind of they tightened up. They tightened up on us, man.
Yeah, dude, they really did.
Yeah,
it's a good thing.
Yeah, I thought about
it's a good thing, but it was a fun thing.
Yeah, man, I thought about when I was lining up that interview, I'm like, fuck, dude, he was 12. His dad's like, hey, man, or his dad, is tattooing and he gets around him and he's an apprentice. Tattooing lighters is pretty crazy, by the way. Don't blow those shit. Like hopefully I was. But anyways, the point being is like what like dad is getting the tattooing done. It's like everything every parent fears. So like what's next? Like training you to be a pirate or some shit. You know what I mean? Like how much more wild does the household get? But man, go ahead.
My dad was very he was very he used to tell me don't be an axe murderer. Because I was an angry little kid. So he shave my head and he's like that makes you look crazy. So I'd grow my hair long like. That makes you look weird, like, or I'd get a big giant fucking. My dad would taper my body out for me, like he would make my piercings bigger and then be like, "You look nuts." Yeah, I'm like, "What the fuck do you mean?" So, like, he was always on the cusp, like he wanted me to be Mr. Rogers, like type, but I think he always knew that I was gonna turn out to be the one to be the most outgoing and the craziest in my own way.
Yeah, man. So, I could see that. I mean, you're a very outgoing personality. You have a long history of being on reality television and outside of reality television, that long history stretches to interviews that cover your perspectives and your community, meaning the artist community and so forth. You have this long fucking history, man, of like out there doing a bunch of pretty incredible stuff. But a lot of your side, where I think a lot of interviews miss on you, is that, and we'll get to your adaptive story in a second, is that you got this enormous heart. You may be able to hide it behind a pretty rugged exterior, you know what I mean? But you got this big heart on you. And I think I saw your brother and you talking, or somebody else in an interview, and you were discussing like, hey man, like we went outside and people were like staring. We're like, what are you staring at? And eventually it went from who gives a shit what they're staring at? And now it went to like, I see this progression of you where you're out there starting this positive movement, the RAD movement that you started before your injury. Again, we'll get into that in a second because that's a crazy story in itself. But like, what made you switch from this personality? Maybe it was always there. Like, were you always that person that was out there, outgoing and giving and kind?
Yeah, I've always had that like need to do the right thing, live by a certain code. I remember this one time specifically, we were at a restaurant. It was a bunch of us. I think we had just gone to like Sunday church thing. So,
yeah.
Dad's grumpy, everybody's fucking hungry. So hangry starts to come out, and everybody's being cranky and shit. And one of my favorite things in the world to do is make my dad laugh because he's a 6'4" angry Cuban. Jesus. And like, it's fun to make him fucking like break character basically. So like I grabbed my bread plate because there wasn't any bread yet and everybody was pissed about that. And I said, here guys, take some love. And like, I don't even remember how old I was, but young enough to be going to church with my family still, so like I've always kind of felt like I just need to be nice rather than be mean. Then when I got out of high school, I wasn't the fat kid that got picked on anymore. I was the fat kid that was a tattooer. So now I had power, and I abused that, and I was really aggressive and abusive towards people verbally. Crazy things I had done, just to, I guess, to assert my dominance over the world and kind of get back at everyone who, made fun of me, or, the girls that didn't want to date me, but instead would ridicule me and make me cry, so all that shit. I think I wanted to take out a bit of that on the world. And then I got divorced at an early age. My ex-wife cheated on me, and then
how old were you?
I was 20 when I got divorced.
Damn.
21.
Yeah.
And or 22 when I got divorced. I had my son. I was a single dad for most of his life. So it's all just so crazy. I think I just lost my train of thought there, because the story just got,
Yeah, but you had a big heart from the start, man, and
yes.
Dude, your story. Okay, I hear a lot of injury stories. Yours is unique. Yours is no more traumatic than the others. In fact, it can be, and I'm not minimizing, but it can be a lot less than some of the recent ones we had on, because we have a lot of people that have lost 3 limbs instead of that, or and stuff like that. Sure. But yours is pretty wild, because it played out on a national scene, international scene. I mean, we're talking tosh.o replayed it. YouTube has it. I couldn't watch it, man. I couldn't watch it, brother. I could not watch that clip at all of you actually getting injured, man. But
it's a rough one.
It's a rough one, to say the least, man. And this happens. Can we jump in to say what happened, so people know where you're coming from, how you joined this community, and then at the same time, we're going to rewind back to a life that occurred before that. But first, what happened, man? You were suspending from your piercings, right, at the time?
So like you said, I have a big heart, right? So
one
of the things that I wanted to do inside of the tattoo community was highlight motivation and self-help. Let people know that, reach out to people that can help you get out of your places. Read books, listen to podcasts, do yoga, meditate, love yourself more, just the simplest rules of how to live better. I wanted to try and get that out to a larger platform. So one of the things I realized was I could do these talks before my suspension shows. So a lot of the time at conventions, Friday, Saturday nights, I would just go up from brand new piercings every time. They remove the jewelry every time. Because they pierce you with a 6-gauge hook, because I'm a bigger guy. They go 6-gauge.
Jesus, that has to hurt, man.
The hooks, the needles are the easiest part, honestly, because they're quick. And then when you start doing crazy shit like I was doing, the recovery is the hardest part. Because you've got just soreness in your back for days.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about these are I would do a fucking suspension show, and on the A-frame rig that I fell from, that when my leg broke off, I would climb those bars. Now, keeping in mind, I've been doing a health and fitness journey since I was on Ink Master. So for about 6-7 years now, I've been diet, exercise, lifestyle change to where it's not a diet anymore. It's just a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
So I would show off. I could do pull-ups and things. So I'd climb up the fucking side of it. I'd go to the middle, and then I'd fucking wrench a pull-up, and then I'd drop down, and the hooks would fucking take, and it just that face that you made just now, it would do that to people in real life. So I would show them how resilient they were physically after giving them a speech about emotional resilience.
Yeah.
But my love for suspension just started just because it was crazy. It was just something.
Yeah, I'm in Vegas, man. People do it too. I've seen it. It's intense, brother. It's intense, man.
Yes.
It's very intense. You can take pain.
Intense.
Yeah, you can take pain. I can't. I couldn't take that level. So.
I can take a lot more pain than I'd like to, and I learned that. on after this injury.
Yep.
Because phantom pains are no motherfucking joke.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about that lately. A lot of revisions I've been seeing around. You fell though. You fell from it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So basically, I was doing what I usually do, and I climbed up the side, and then I realized I was like, man, I that's going to be a long climb. Let me just go ahead and let go.
Oh, fuck.
You know, so because they were still hoisting me up, but I had created a lot of momentum from running into it like I usually do, because that's my easiest way of getting up without thinking. I'm a big dumb truck, so if I just do it without thinking, I can make it past it. If I think, I overthink, and then I stop.
Yeah.
So like I ran into it, and then I'm swinging, and I'm like, oh, that fucking bar is close to me. So I grab that bitch after I come back to it, climb up, drop down. I'm like, man, this is pretty fucking high. Then all of a sudden, I hear my legs snap, and I'm like, this is what Big Jimmy felt. If you don't know, well, you wouldn't know if you're not in the suspension world. Big Jimmy is a guy that had double compound fracture. Both legs broke like that from doing a suspension accident where he was like 30 or 40 foot in the air, and he had like 100 pounds on me, and his were able to be he was able to keep his legs and go back to normal, but I fell and I'm sitting there, and all of it happened so quick, and I'm like, man, this is what Big Jimmy must have felt like. Then I looked down, and I'm like, fuck, because I heard the snap.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shit, there's only one fucking thing that could be going wrong right now. You know, like that rope broke, I'm free falling, I heard a snap, and then I'm laying there, and I'm like, motherfuck, how am I going to afford this?
Yeah. That was your first question. It's going to be expensive.
So I start crying, and I'm like, how am I going to afford this? And one of my friends, she's there, she's like, don't worry about that, honey, we're good. And then the dude that was doing my ropes, I was laying in his lap, and he's a big, burly motherfucker, and he's just being so loving and just loving on me. And then I got this one doctor dude, he's like, dude, everybody's fighting, trying to tourniquet me and whatnot. The doctor comes up as they're like bickering, like me and him tuned in. You know, because at that point in time, now I'm in tune with my highest self, because I'm not feeling my leg falling off.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, when I'm ready, like, I'm having a conversation, so I'm fully engaged. And he's like, hi, my name is Arian. I'm a doctor. I'm like, fuck yeah. All right, here we go. You know, in my brain, I'm like, fuck yeah. Answers. And he's like, there's nothing we can do for you here, bud. We're waiting for an ambulance.
Oh, my God. Oh.
So now I'm like, oh, I'm fucked. So the ambulance gets there. The young fella that looks like my son, because my son's 19, right?
Yeah.
So now a 25-year-old could remind me of my son real fucking easy, you know? So, like, I'm like this old grandpa fuck, you know? And I'm like, oh, you remind me of my son. So, like, I think my inner knowingness was, like, looking for things to feel comfortable with. Like, the doctor. I feel comfortable talking to a doctor because that motherfucker knows things that I don't know, right? So, like, I found comfort there. Then my medic. Like, okay, you're my medic, but also you look like my kid. You know, so like I think like all this is going on as I'm going through it. And so I'm looking at him and I'm like, all right, cool. He's like, all right, what kind of pain are you in? And I'm like, 4.
What? Wow.
And he's like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, yeah, man, you know, it's crazy right here, man. You know, like I'm in my underwear. Oh, that's another thing. So every time I do these suspensions, I strip off all my clothes.
Yeah, are we talking like Speedo style? What are we doing?
Oh, we're doing boxer briefs that had donuts on them.
I mean, if you're gonna do it, yeah, that's what I would do too. Yeah.
And the way that started was all these beautiful ladies did a lot of suspension. Beautiful girls, all amazing body styles, all different types. But the one thing that tied them together, other than being amazing performers, is they all had these really pretty like lingerie or like themed outfits.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, what the fuck? I'm performing next to you girls. Fucking dirty tat pants ain't the way to do this, you know? Like, I need to fucking step.
We need some donuts. Yeah, we need some donuts and some.
So like, I just started stripping down to my underwears, and then I started buying cool underwears. And then because I was the guy that was, you know, preaching about changing your life, and you know, I'd gone through this, you know, big, you know, lifestyle change with diet and exercise. I love donuts, and I love doing these fucking pink donut tattoos. I love doing donut tattoos. So like all of it kind of tied together. So like all is a piece of me, and those donuts got cut off me that night in the fucking hospital. Damn. So yeah, so I'm sorry, I offshoot a lot. So,
yeah, that's fine. Did you save it? Were you able to save it? At least like have a piece of the donut underwear?
No, I was at that point where I've reached a lot recently where I'm like, fuck it, let it go.
Yeah.
I was like, this is obviously like the end of an era or something. So let me just let it go.
Is it though? Is it the end of an era? Do you think you'll go back up and do it again?
I will suspend again. I will never perform like that again.
Wow.
Because it went from pushing my limits physically to seeing what I can do to make this crowd ooh and ah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't supposed to be egoic. You
Yeah.
know, like it was, yeah, granted it was a fun time performing, but when I didn't know I was performing was when I had the most fun.
Wow.
When
Okay.
people would be like, Robbie, you're the best performer I've ever seen. You're so raw and real. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I didn't know I was performing. I was just suspending.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I will definitely suspend again, but it's the end of an era for me to do those suspension speaking shows at conventions. The insurance is no longer there available.
Yeah, I imagine.
So now no more suspension at public events like that. So it really is the end of an era. So it's really weird that I grew and progressed so much from something that gave and took so much. Because in the end, you know.
Yeah, yeah. When was the decision to amputate? When did you decide? Was
that was December 15th.
Accident was November?
December 15th.
Was the accident?
Oh, no. The accident was May 10th.
Oh, wow. So that's what I was wondering. Like, how much between that time? I couldn't remember accident date. Yep.
Yeah, so when they got me to the hospital and stuff, and like, dude, leaving the convention was the coolest because I'm being pulled out on a stretcher, but I'm at a tattoo convention.
Yeah.
I know a ton of these people. I'm loved by a ton of these people. A ton of these people are my fucking good friends and stuff. So like, as I'm fucking going out, the whole Black Ink crew booth is all fucking screaming and cheering for me. My one homie Davion screaming my name. Like the whole convention on that side of the convention that knew what was going on fucking stopped. Not one machine buzzing, not one person working. Dude, it was like a goddamn slow clap in a movie.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Dude, it was so cool, and everybody was just so like cheering me on. I got my arms in the air like fucking Rocky. I'm crying out of like just an outpouring of love. And then I go to the hospital, and then this one doctor reattaches my foot, but doesn't tell me I'm about to do that because I had no pulse, like I was losing. So they wanted to put it back on so I could get blood flow back. So they cracked all the bones and everything back together. And I had this one amazing nurse who told me I could do whatever I wanted to her hand, regardless of the outcome.
Yeah.
And I said, well, this is really hard, so I'm going to hurt you. She goes, okay. And so I tried to break her fingers, and I didn't.
Wow. Damn.
And I made it through the worst pain that I'd gone through until surgery 6 and 7, and then the amputation. So there was a lot of limb salvage between
a lot of fusions, stuff like that, fusions of joints.
They didn't go fusion. They wanted to go fusion, but I already couldn't walk so good after just pins.
Yeah.
And a rod. So I was like, if I can't walk good on this, am I going to do any better with a fusion? They said probably worse. So, and I'm like, well, you know, I had a little bit too many wines on fucking Thanksgiving and got real cocky, and when I was walking, my fucking foot popped and it hurt for weeks. And the doc's like, yeah, you probably backed out a screw. So I'm like, dude, fuck this shit. If I'm always gonna be like breaking my internal self, like let's chop the thing off, make me a cyborg, you know what I'm saying? So like, we tried limb salvage for a while, and December 15th I went in, and this is when I thought like I was gonna be fine, like limb salvage was gonna happen. So I was just going in for a routine fucking thing, 10 days before Christmas. My son's flying into town later on that day, and then fucking he's like, yeah, so we went over the whole thing with the fusion, and I'm like, well, if I can't run, I don't want it. If I can't wakeboard without severe pain, if I can't do backflips and hit 10-foot jumps, I don't want it.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, well, you can do that with amputation, which, by the way, you're a great candidate for amputation.
Yeah, let's go, man. Let's do it today.
And so I'm like, whoa. He called the tough guy out, and then I had to fucking put up or shut up.
Yeah.
So I cried my face off for a second, but like the whole time I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, I have to do this. Like, I'm not like, dog, I'm afraid I can't do this. I'm like, dog, I'm afraid I have to do this. Like, this sucks. I have no answer to give you, but yes, take my leg.
Wow. Shit, man, that had to be nerve-wracking.
Oh, it was shitty. And so I had an infection creeping on again. And then also, I was about to go travel for a month in 2 weeks. So I was like, dude, what about, so when I get back in a month and a half, what about this infection? You know, is it really a good idea to try and keep this leg that long? He's like, well, we could do it Friday.
We can cut off your leg Friday. It's like, let me look at my book. I got a birthday party Thursday, so Friday, let's cut this bitch off.
Dude, for real. So Tuesday, he tells me we can do it on Friday.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, motherfuck, what's going on? So, you know, I'm like, okay, well, I guess if that's the smartest thing, you know, because I'm sitting there weighing my options, wait a month and a half and see what happens with this infection. Because then if it eats up my skin, the infection, then I don't have a good enough flap to fold over. So then I could turn into an AK.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I wanted to stay BK. And he was like, dude, you can travel in 2 weeks.
No.
I'm
wow.
like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, you can. I was like, okay. So I'm like, take this fucking thing off. So, and then keep in mind, so it's 10 days before Christmas, amputation's 5 days before Christmas. I just moved to Florida in November, just got this house that I'm living in, and then decided to host Christmas at my house. So now I'm hosting Christmas 5 days post amputation.
Holy shit. That's a lot to take in.
But it was like, I needed it, man. Like,
Yeah.
It kept me alive. You know, all my friends and family that I really loved was there. So, like, it kept feeding me good. So I was like, okay. So then we go on the road 2 weeks later. And, you know, dude, phantom pains were the worst thing in the whole wide world.
Are they still there?
So when I got back from the trip, dude, it was rough. There was, you know, every so often I'd have to pop a Percocet at the end of the day just to deal. I am no longer having to take Percocet.
Nice, man. Nice.
I don't have to take any medicine for my amputation. I had TMR surgery.
Okay.
And I have this like lucky number of 2 weeks before travel, I go under surgery. So 2 weeks before my last travel I just did, I got my TMR surgery, and it's like fucking night and day difference.
Yeah.
My surgeon for the TMR said the real magic in this surgery happens 6 months after, and I'm nowhere near 6 months after, and I feel the magic already.
Oh, it's beautiful.
So I can't wait for the magic to actually kick in, you know?
Yeah.
So,
what are you doing for travel? What are you doing when you're on the road all the time?
Yeah, so I've been a traveling tattoo artist for many years, but I brought the RAD Movement road team on the road.
Yep.
Basically a group of like-minded tattooers that I treated it like a tattoo shop on the road. I fronted all the expenses. They came on the road with me. They work with me. They pay a percentage to the house to work, and I make it financially feasible for everybody to travel.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And make connections inside my network and just feel what it's like to like have your craft take you around and feed you and show you the world, you know?
Yeah, you're an amazing case of like a passion, really, like what you do, you know, since you were 12, basically, paid for everything. And it made you famous for, you know, for a period of time still. Like people know who the fuck you are, you know, you're Robbie. And so like, that's one thing for the people that are watching is that you have a whole career with Ink Master, and in there they build you as a rivalry against your brother. I mean, you're a big deal in that realm. You're a very good entertainer, which makes this RAD movement really interesting, because not only are you part of the adaptive scene, you're part of the, you know, the scene of talking adversity and so forth, man. And I feel like that RAD movement really kicked off about that time you were on the show, was when you started to really kick that thing off. Now that you've had this perspective of, man, I've got a limb difference now, and you add that into there. I had a really, really interesting thought. Back in like 2018 or 19, you talked about how you didn't feel like you're embracing this whole Tony Robbins attitude. You didn't feel like, man, I had that much adversity to be talking about it. And then you said, oh man, I was divorced, I had this, and you started listing reasons what you've overcome. You're now after a serious fucking accident, man. That was 2018 or 19 when you're like, man, I don't know if I have enough adversity to talk about this. You literally say that in an interview. And I'm like, holy shit. Did he go back and watch that and remember that and see how different things are now?
I've thought about that very many times.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful what you wish for.
I don't know if it's a case of that. It's just amazing. It's just amazing where it's at now, you know?
It's wild, yeah, because like I felt like I didn't have enough adversity, and then the universe said, okay, and I really have been shown how strong I am that I didn't realize I was.
Mm-hmm.
How much inner strength I have. How truly, truly, truly magical someone can be, even if they don't feel that way. And I've had so many people come up to me in person and in messages and just all different forms of communication telling me I've helped them make their lives better. I've helped them change their lives. From the hospital bed, I was helping people change their lives. So it's like, man, I had it back then. I didn't need the adversity.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's just funny to see that I needed the adversity. I needed it to learn how to overcome adversity with an instruction manual attached, I think.
Yeah, you're already building the curriculum. In fact, we talked
Right.
about that, man. We talked,
Right.
we first had contact in social media. I was asking for guests that have some sort of system in place that are empowering others to kind of get on their feet and get going. And you actually had that. Like, you were one of the few that responded that really had a very solid system. And we stretch back and see that whole history of that whole solid system. You talk about the universe a lot, and I can't help but ask this question. I ask this a lot because after somebody's gone through such a traumatic accident, tons of surgeries where you're laid up and you can't do the shit you want to do, where you can't travel, you can't get out of the house. Maybe you're stuck in a hospital bed. We have a lot of guests that have gone through that experience, man. And then you can look back, and you have a lot of time to look back on your life, on the lives of others, and on the adversity you went through, man. When you look back, man, what is it all about to you? What is this all about?
Whew. Man, it's all about fucking achieving peace. If you want it in the simplest answer, achieving peace, finding peace in myself, finding a way to live in the ever-glowing flow of that and the everlasting flow of that, and to help deliver peace to others, the way that so many have done to me in the past and continue to still today. So, yeah, man, just finding peace, because I've been broke, I've been rich, I've been famous, I've been broke again.
Yeah, you've run the gamut. Like you said, you've been like rich, famous. You've had beautiful partners. You've had cars. Featured in magazines. You've had it all. Like, once you reach that point,
I had the young swag starter kit, man.
Yeah, you did.
I really did, and I needed that at that time. And now what I realize is every place I've been, every fucking chair feels the same inside if you don't address your lacking inside. If you don't figure out how to just be at peace and be happy. If you can't figure out how to just enjoy life for the moment that you've obviously worked for most of the fucking time. Like, bask in that shit, man. Carry that shit around the way that you carry around your baggage. And all the seemingly negative crap. So it's like, man, just the meaning of it all is to fucking live peaceful.
Yeah. I gotta ask this. Speaking of peaceful and not, this was a question asked too that was sent to me, is like the rivalries, man. The rivalries you had on TV and stuff, were those real?
The rivalries with my brother have been our whole lives.
Yeah.
It sucks because I've just reached a place in my life where I have to realize no matter how many relationships I can help fix with people between each other and inside themselves, if my brother doesn't want to get to a place where we can be in a good relationship together, then I've got to be okay with where we are. There's always been a lot of jealousy that I have. My brother gets jealous that I can be happy and be peaceful where I am. And that bothers me a lot of the time. It hurts me. And I always wanted to make him better. But, I got to make me better. And that rivalry is still real. It's still painful. He's got a very, very negative taste against me at this point. And I've just got to ride that wave, man, because that's been our whole lives, you know.
What's the age
So,
difference?
2.5 years.
Yeah.
He's my senior. I'm his junior.
Gotcha. Yeah. I just noticed, I mean, there was a ton of hype on it. I'm like, I don't know. It could be for entertainment or not. And I'm like, it seemed pretty real at the time and so forth. And I know that you deal in like a lot of conflict management and stuff like that, especially with this RAD movement. It's like finding that place, finding that spot where you find peace despite the conflicts that surround you, like you were just talking about. So it's pretty interesting to see all of this play out. How about like when all this played out, your injury and stuff on tosh.o, like, did you get to a point where you could kind of like not be traumatized by what you're seeing everywhere, man? I mean, it's fucking crazy to have that shit everywhere, you know?
Yeah. Well, so like, it depended on the publication, because like when Ink Mag did anything about it, they were very pro Robbie and like
I saw that
super awesome, like pro tattoo community and stuff. Tosh just trashed me. Like,
I didn't see his.
I'd fucking slept with his girlfriend or something. Like,
he's a dick to everybody, though. He's a dick. We'll trash Tosh right now.
Right, dude. I'd love to go back on one of his little the redemption things he does.
Yep.
I think that would be fucking hilarious.
Yep.
Now that I ain't got no leg, because like I'm in the fucking hospital between surgeries 4 and 5, or 6 and 7. I'm not really sure, but that's when Tosh got released. I didn't know that was happening. I didn't release them to use anything about me. MTV asked to use it, and I said if they would pay me a certain amount of money, I said use my motivational clip, and I don't even want money. If you don't use the motivational clip, pay me X amount of dollars. And they said, okay, sorry, and they stopped fucking with me. But then Tosh just used it, like,
yeah, he doesn't
straight
care.
out the gate, like not even asking. So, because I didn't want to have what happened. You know, people that I know and people that I don't know sending me messages. Oh, dude, so dope. You made it on Tosh. I'm like, not really. I'm in the hospital.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to keep my fucking leg. You know, and then egoically, Tosh made fun of me, and that hurt. You know, like.
Yeah, for sure, man.
You know, I was a fat kid most of my life. I don't want you picking on me, making me feel like a fat kid again. And Tosh did that, you know. And you know, I made a little response video on Facebook Live, and we got a decent response from my community. But you know, nothing ever happened. You know, and basically, I told Tosh, I was like, "Yo, I'll give you a hug if you need it, bro. I don't know why you got to hurt people."
That's
you know,
his. That's his deal. Is he tears people up, bullies them? You know what I mean? That's his deal, man. And so
yeah,
it's horrible.
It's weird.
It's a shitty deal, like, right? It's a shitty deal. You can do a lot of decent comedy without, you know, I've been around, and you can do a lot of decent comedy without doing where he's at, you know what I mean? So like,
well, you could do a lot of decent comedy and with the same content without tearing people to death.
Yeah, no shit.
You know,
no shit,
like,
man.
Dude, if he would have reached out to me and said, hey man, I noticed that turned down for what really happened at the perfect timing in that video. Do you want to come on and talk about your accident? Like, he did some bitch shit, researched me, stole me as an entity, and used my content without even like being like, hey man, want to be a part of this? You know, I know your life's changed forever. Like, yeah, so it's weird that he takes the bully's approach, because I've been bullied and I've been a bully. I don't like to be a bully, you know, like I like to help more than I like to hurt, but not everybody's on that same fucking journey, man, you know, like. And that's one thing that Tosh taught me. That's one thing that all this has taught me. Yeah, it hasn't been easy waking up in a hospital bed or trying to go to sleep in a hospital bed, you know, where I don't have my dabs and I don't have my weed. And, you know, like, you know, they're giving me Percocets and all these drugs that I don't really feel oriented with, that I don't really want to be on. And then I'm about to go to surgery, so I can't even eat. And then Tosh is picking on me on TV at fucking 11:45.
Fuck.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's surreal, like, man.
What the fuck? You know, like, what the fuck? Why would you do that, man? Like, and I think that's where I was at it. Like, why would you do that? And then I thought back on all the things that I know, you know, about personal development and, you know, personal growth in the human mind. And he's hurting. So, like, I'm like, all right, well, it sucks that you want to hurt me. And then I wanted to hurt him back a little bit. But then I got over that and just realized Tosh is a hurting dude. I don't know why he's hurting. He's a very intelligent man. He's extraordinarily subliminal in his blatantness. Like, he wore my pink.
Yeah.
Like, my shade of pink that's my brand. color. Like, he wore that color while he was roasting me. Like, almost as a way to say, I can do what you do, fuck you, pussy. And it was really weird. It fucked with my brain a lot. But, you know, I had to get over it. And I had to face dealing with this shit. So Tosh hurt me for a couple days, but I was like, man, I might lose my leg. Fuck Tosh.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And I think, you know, like with the corona thing going on and like a lot of people being in quarantine and social isolation, I've been doing that for how many fucking years now? Or for almost a full year now. Like, I've been doing social isolation because of, you know, hospitals and, you know, trying to just recover and, you know, going through major surgeries.
How do you get through that?
One of my doctors, one of the interns, when I was like, I told them, I was like, I'm having a really hard day, guys. I don't know how to do this, you know? And she's like, you know, I watched a lot of your content. She was an intern, really cool lady. She goes, I watched a lot of your content, and I think you should just be your own guru, and you'll make it.
Wow, that's interesting.
And I was like, yeah, and I was like, you motherfucker, you can't tell me that. I mean, it's my job, you know?
Yeah, I got to work now. That's a question I have, though, is like, you are a guru. You're a guru for others. You know, they turn to you, and you like, it's almost expected that Robbie Ripoll has to be upbeat and fun and able to have decent advice, some sort of solid advice, and some sort of input every time they're talking to you. Do you ever get worn out? Do you ever just snap and be like, fuck it, man, you're on your own?
It depends.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do that in actions. I'll leave the ball in their court, and then if they don't pursue more communication or, you know, more problem resolution or, you know, more advice and more help, or if they don't want to like sign up for like a coaching program because they're going to need way too much of my time.
Yep.
You know, like, just, I can't help you with a phone call. Like, we need 6 months of dedicated effort, you know, like, I'll just kind of leave it up to them. I'll be like, well, you know I can help you. I know we can change the world for you together. But if you don't take those steps, we can't do this. Yeah. You know, I do get frustrated and break internally and cry and break to my partner Donna and, you know, cry to her and, you know, just be like, fuck, I can't handle this. And she reminds me how much good I do, or I go to my, you know, gratitude list, or, you know, I go to meditation, or I just get centered again and realize, like, okay, these people need me just like I need someone when, you know, things are rough for me.
How'd you develop that? How'd you develop that curriculum? I mean, you literally have a curriculum, which is different than most people. You actually have a curriculum. You have a mode of practice, techniques, everything. You've bottled it together, made it into a package, made it so like you could, like, if you needed a life coach, if you needed something like that, you actually have a ton of shit to go with and to help others. Like, how long did that take and how'd you do it?
It's funny hearing you call it a curriculum.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's just a bunch of stuff that I've figured out over the years.
Yeah.
But it's a bunch of stuff I figured out over the years. It's humble. You know what I'm saying? It's not as glamorous as you know, I come across, I guess. You know, it's not as it's not very polished, but it is. You know, it's don't be a shitbag type stuff. You know, you know, when I was at my lowest, and suicide seemed like a very valuable option.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is when my ex-wife is draining me financially, and I didn't even know it. You know, I fucking was just really biting on to self-help and personal development. I was living at like the height of my, you know, rich and famous, and like it was all too much, and it didn't feel real. So I just started putting my life back together. And the shit that I did to put my life back together, the shit that I do to hold myself together, the mentors that I've you know been around, the coaches that I've worked with, that I still work with, that I still want to work with, it's always evolving based on my experiences in life.
Yeah.
You know, which is the best and hardest part, because like it's hard to do all that and be humble and turn it into something that you can help others with, and like all these things. It's a really weird mind fuck, but I guess everything in life is. So you just kind of develop and grow as it goes.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. I to kind of bring it down a little bit more lighthearted is to like really get to know you is that you'll be a part of tattooing some pretty amazing people, but I got to say the top of the list is probably Daddy Longneck. You know what I mean? The legend himself, brother. Like you got a chance to get him and tattoo him, man. And like in all your experiences of tattooing and doing that, like for people to get to know you, like who else have you tattooed? Like have you tattooed a bunch of people? We see you on shows. And have you fucked any up?
The funny thing is, like have I ever fucked any up?
Yeah.
Yeah, on Ink Master.
Awesome.
But like the Daddy Longneck thing, I actually tattooed a picture of Daddy Longneck on a girl.
No.
I didn't actually get to tattoo
Dude,
him.
what is going on in her life to get Daddy Longneck on her?
She is Summer. She's a sweet gal.
Yeah.
She's like a premium snap model, and like she does like porn and stuff like that. So like she's an interesting gal, but she's a fucking sweetheart.
Sure.
I feel like I basically have developed the island of the land of misfit toys.
Yeah.
You know, like and she's just another misfit toy that fits in here. You know, because none of us know what we're doing, but we're all figuring it out as we go. That was an interesting experience. Daddy Longneck is a very sweet kid.
I know it, man. I know.
He's a very sweet kid. He's making fun of himself. He's trying to empower others with it. He uses his platform to help other people grow their platforms. Like I love what he's about. He's a very nice kid. As I sit here and I think about it, I haven't really tattooed a whole bunch of like famous people or people that you would know. Like one of my coolest moments where I felt special was when Ryan Ashley Malarkey, she was the winner of season 7.
Yeah.
6 or 7 of Ink Master. She came up to me at the Colorado convention last year and she's like, "Oh my God, one of my clients was fangirling that I'm friends with you because of the RAD movement and all that." And I was like, holy shit, that was pretty wild. So I guess my like famous people moments are more just like the people that I've been able to get to know and connect with.
Yeah, man, I get that. My famous people are relative to like what I think are incredible people. You know, like a lot of people haven't heard of them. I don't give a shit about like whatever, you know, in Hollywood, you know, it doesn't fucking do anything for me. So
right.
Yep.
Like I want to resonate with them, and like I've met Robert Lusardo a handful of times. We worked with the same publicist. He's a really nice dude. Fucking Robert Mukes, I've done conventions with him. He's been in House of a Thousand Corpses and Weeds and Westworld and all kinds of fucking shit like that. Like I've met a lot of these people and they've just been great people.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I've just had great conversations and great repeat interactions with them. And, you know, like, so like I said, yeah, I just kind of am lucky to have friends that are in positions that a lot of people would like to be in. And I get to know that they're regular people. And because of my whole motivational aspect and because, you know, the self-help and the life coaching and all that, a lot of these people talk to me on a different level, you know, and it's really cool to like just hear humans being humans that I have looked up to.
Yeah,
know?
Totally.
So it's really cool. It's good stuff.
You've done a lot of business and stuff like that. You've been in those realms and you've discussed it, you know, here a bit in this interview. But you're also young at heart, man. And like, I could really feel like I can relate to you. Like when I go across and work with an organization and they realize that, you know, maybe my maturity level isn't the best at times, you know, like when I reached out to you, I'm like, man, I could really relate to Robbie because like, I've always been young at heart and I kind of just throw it out there, you know, like something, you know, and that's really cool. You're really relatable. Now jump into this real quick before like we wrap anything up. This RAD movement, man, everything you're doing here, like everything that's here, man, where are you going to go with it? Like, what is the game next? Where are we going? Where do you see yourself in like a few years with everything? Cause you're working really hard.
So, I want to be doing like major speaking events and things like that in different realms where my story is helping other people outside of tattooing. I want to help my whole entire tattoo community as much as I can. And one of the weirdest and probably most physical goals that I have is I want to eventually orchestrate a World Tattoo Day.
Yeah.
Where I wanted to do 50 free love tattoos in all the 50 states. And that's why I bought my RV, and that's why I was going to be on the road full time. Then my leg broke and all that changed. But like, I want to basically have a day where every tattooer in the world just gives free love tattoos once a year. Little bitty tattoos that say love or hearts or whatever, you know. But in an attempt to get people just to pay it forward.
Yeah.
So like, you give the free tattoos and they're charged to go pay it forward. So if everyone in the world gets to go into a tattoo shop and get a free tattoo and be charged with going and paying it forward, what kind of difference could we really make in the world?
Yeah, seems like that's the goal, man, is to bring it together, bring a little bit of unity. Right now we're seeing it. Everybody's quarantined, but we're kind of reaching out, checking on each other, doing Zoom sessions, doing all kinds of shit the best way we can to be part of the community. And that's been your ultimate goal for a while. By the way, are you joining us from it looks like you're in like some sort of like planetarium or something, brother. What is this?
This is my house.
It's awesome.
Let me flip this around.
Yeah, flip that around. It's incredible, man.
So this is outside my bedroom door.
Yeah.
On the second floor, and it's in a screened-in dome, and the whole house is made of 2 domes.
Wow, man, that's amazing. You've got a lot of land too. So you're out in Florida. You're in Melbourne, right? Great. We just had somebody gonna stalk your house.
My house is in Cocoa.
Yeah.
But Melbourne is where my shop is.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I see you tag Melbourne a lot, and I'm like, maybe that's where he's at. So yeah, it's an amazing house, man. When did you build that?
I'm renting it, man.
No shit.
I got lucky, found it on Craigslist, November, and moved in.
Yeah, that's an amazing place, man. I can't let you go without saying this, man, or like at least getting you to give a couple takeaways, man. Like, people can't sit with Robbie. They can't like sit with you every fucking day. Maybe they can't even afford you, you know? Like they can't afford to have sessions with you, or they can't get to one of your sessions or something like that. Like, but we have a lot of people, man. I don't know what's going on. Like this last few weeks, a lot of people, I know coronavirus is going on, but I don't know why everybody's like getting to the point of significant depression, man. I mean, significant. I've heard and seen a lot of people reach out saying, man, I can't fucking do this anymore. It's getting too much, and they're reaching out for help and stuff. And you talk about suicide a lot, which is often taboo. And what would you say? Like, what would you say when it's at that point? Like, I can't do this.
Well, I mean, really, usually when things are about to change, they get the worst. So if you wait another day or two, it'll probably get better.
Yeah.
You know, literally, you're stronger than this. You know, just because you feel like you're going to break doesn't mean you're going to. All my friends that are going through it and that are complaining about money, you're not alone, man. The whole fucking world is worried about money right now. So don't worry about money. Worry about what you can control. You know what I'm saying? If you want to think about money, think about ways to generate income from home with the social media boom. You know what I'm saying? Like, just I got musician friends that are charging for song requests. They're learning songs and playing them on acoustic guitars and singing them for $5 a pop. DJs that are just fucking throwing free dance parties, you know, like online. A bunch of artists are getting together in Melbourne and doing an online concert, I think on the 29th. So, like, there's so much still out there for you guys. Yes, it is tiring. Yes, it is frustrating. Yeah, the world's in a fucked up state, but it doesn't mean that you have to kill yourself because of it. Yeah. This is just another fucking low. This is just another low before another high. Like, everybody's worried about what's going to happen if the world ends. I'm wondering what's going to happen if the world doesn't end. You know, like, what if like everything fucking blows over and we figure out this COVID-19 thing And then everybody's like, yay, I'm done being fucking stuck in my house. I want to go get tattooed. I want to go get a haircut. I want to go get my nails did. I want to go to the bar. I want to go to my favorite restaurant and see my favorite waitress. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that if this thing doesn't really cripple our whole entire world and civilization as we know it, things are going to go fucking amazing from here.
Yeah, I agree, man.
Pretty positive.
It is. It's really positive. And also I got to ask this, man. This was asked like, actually, this is for myself. I'm going to skip that question and go, hey, man, I've never felt like I could get a tattoo. You know, I self-tattooed. Let's go back to the beginning of the interview. I definitely self-tattooed myself in high school, and it turned out fucking terrible. But like, I've never gone the realm of tattooing and stuff like in that realm, man. Do you think I could pull off a tattoo? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Absolutely. Everyone that wants tattooed can get tattooed. Anyone that wants art can get art. It's a matter of lining yourself up with the proper artist and the proper content and getting the proper tattoo.
I thought about tattooing my legs, like, and just putting like return to sender on them. You know what I mean? Because like, some bullshit. I'm like I was discussing with somebody else the other day. He does his own social media platforms and stuff. He's like, you look pale, man. And I'm like, so my legs are fucked. I'm pale. Like, anything else we want to point out today, you dick? You know what I mean? Like, he's going through a whole gamut of shit gone wrong. But like, I've always thought about return to sender on the legs. You know what I mean? Because like,
well, a lot of us in the tattoo world got tattooed because the tattoos are a way to make us feel more comfortable on our own skin.
Yeah. You talked about that too. Before we get going, is you also are looking at the idea of tattooing potentially like prosthetic products. You know what I mean? Like sheets.
Yeah. I don't know how the product is going to come out, but I want to deliver art for the artists for prosthetics rather than the stuff that's out there that is very cliche, simplistic, 80s, 90s stuff. Like, like Flames and Tribal was cool a while ago. I'd rather see some like, phenomenal art.
Yeah, man. So, you were up in Pittsburgh recently doing some art up there. How'd that go?
I was.
How'd it go up there?
Oh man, I love the Pittsburgh convention. It's great. It's an amazing city, great people. It's always a great show. And I always leave there just feeling great. So
do you think you and I, like, I never identified as a jock in any way. Like, I was a skater. I was essentially a replica for Michael Cera from Superbad. I was that like all through high school. You know what I mean? Like I never identified in that realm, but I do a lot of athletic shit now, man. Like, is there any chance you and I could get out and do like an obstacle course race or something on the same team and just like hang out? Like, do you think you see that happening in the future, man? Strap on a running.
Absolutely, bro. Let's do it. Like,
dude, we'll do it, man. Put a camera on us. Let's go.
I never was an athletic person until I started losing weight,
Mm-hmm.
So now, like, I want to do everything athletic, dude. Especially now that I'm adaptive. Like, I want to fucking run a marathon and shit with my prosthetic, like.
Absolutely should. Like, absolutely should. I thought about you for that, man. I thought, like, this is it, man. This is a whole new side. He's about to open up some stuff. So like, it would be cool to see you run that marathon, man. And I mean, there's a lot of support out there in the community to get out and get moving, man. That's one of the big things about the adaptive community is that we have a ton of that support to motivate, but also financially in other realms for people listening. The whole grant side, go to Challenge Athletes Foundation. Be More Adaptive is now highlighting ways to get part of the grant process too. And tons of people will help you for free getting the grants for that running leg or whatever you need or that product. I'm speaking to the amputee side since you're an amputee. And so like people listening. And anyways, yeah, man, Robbie, it's really cool to sit down with you. We've talked before on the phone, and every time I can get a chance to hang with you, it's really motivating. You're super fun. We're from the same era, so it's hilarious because like the same shit you joke about, I totally get. Like, we're definitely under the table shit going on in our childhood. So like, I really appreciate you being here. What's the best way for people to like reach out to you, hang out with you, man?
All my social media is pretty simple. Robbie Ripoll is my name. So everything that I do tattoo wise, it's ROBBIE RIPOLL. Just Google it and you find all the things. Also, the RAD Movement. The RAD Movement is the motivational platform that I started that we've spoken a bit about. You can go there on Instagram. It's _RAD_movement. You can go on Facebook, the RAD Movement. I moderate all of my messages from all social media streams. So you're always talking to me when you see that stuff. If you go to any of the emails, you're always talking to Donna, but any of the social media, you're always talking to me.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to reach out and be in contact with me, social media is the way to do it. Especially now, I mean, I've been laying in a bed for a while, aside from tattooing and stuff. And, now I'm finally getting back to normal. And now we have this Corona quarantine. So, my phone's always in my hand. I'm always, until I take those breaks from it, which actually feel really nice. But I'm usually always on my phone trying to stay in touch with people and trying to be, as communicative as possible and, help as many people as possible while I'm on my downtime.
Cool. We'll try to corner you and get you on a live session too, man, to dig more into what you're doing. Yeah, that'd be really fun. And then vlog, man. We'd love to see you vlogging when you're out on the road more. Like really going in depth. I know you do that, but like the more we would have loved to see Pittsburgh more. I think you're doing some amazing shit. Just following you is entertainment in itself, So it's really cool. All right, Robbie.
No, I feel you, man. I've been really wanting to honestly just get somebody to follow me around and do a lot of that stuff because I'm really bad at wanting to. I have a very strong struggle in my head. I'll be on the road, but then I'll be like, fuck, I've got 13 or 14 hours of tattooing today, God, how am I going to pick up my phone and keep, and just, So yes, less excuses, more action in that side, but vlogging is something that I really want to start doing more of. I don't realize how much people really enjoy it.
Yeah, man. Just build that platform again, regain it. You already have a huge platform. So I'd love to see more of it, if anything. And that's a huge, to me, that's when somebody's begging for more, that says a lot about you. And so, a lot of people will be looking out for that, but I appreciate it, Robbie, man. You're the man. Seriously. You're a lot of fun to hang out with. And so we'll get you out here more. So.
Hell yeah, Scott. I really appreciate the opportunity to be introduced to a different community, going along with my whole new adaptive life. So, that's wild, man.
Remember, go to livingadaptive.com to find previous episodes, show notes, contacts for guests like this guest, links to social media accounts, and a bunch of other good stuff. So go there. Peace.